Hold tight. Oh, yeah, that's probably why. That is probably why. Hello, everybody. My jam. How we doing? Welcome in, Ben. Welcome in, Jax. Good to see you all. How we all doing? Yeah, that button. Oh, congrats on the catch, Ben. On the Dreepy. You got stuff to show? Oh, nice. I also have stuff to show. Well, I have one thing to show. I bought a PS1 game today. Well, I bought it a couple days ago, but it came in the post today. It focused. Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. Which is cool. So we'll be playing that at some point. I might get. I've already played Time Busters, but I might get the PS1 version of Time Busters as well. Just so we say we've played it, on original hardware. But how was Glasgow, Jax? How was it? I'm eagerly awaiting the uploaded pictures. I'm going to post the 6 off the 7 things I bought. I want to build a bit of anticipation. Oh, you little tease. You're teasing us. Oh. See ya. You're teasing us with your presence, with your pictures. I hope everyone's doing all right. Good to see everyone. Good to see everyone. I want to see a full screen reaction for the 7th thing. Do you? What? Maybe I'll say no. Maybe I'll say no. Maybe I don't want it. Okay. Ooh, One Piece Pirate Warriors. Ooh, nice, nice. Sea of Stars. Nice, nice. Oh wow, Stitch Experiment 626. Huh. Oni. Duel Masters Limited Edition. Looks very Yu-Gi-Oh. And then Card Captors the movie. Very interesting. All right. So you want a full screen reaction for this? You want me full screen? You want me full screen for this? Drum roll. I can't do it too loud because people are trying to. I'm doing a drum roll. Or this is close enough, I guess. Oh. 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 I see what you mean. I mean, that's valid. That's valid. Very valid. Wow, look at that. That second picture is crazy, though. You get a. So for those not in the Discord, Jax has bought a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth original soundtrack special edit version. And is it a vinyl? I'm guessing it's no, it's discs, isn't it? It's discs. But then the book is that? Oh, is it like world lore or is it like? I think it's like, isn't it like 6 or 7 discs for the soundtrack? I think Rebirth was around the same. Oh, not Rebirth, Remake was about the same. I think. I love the picture of Aerith praying in the city, the ancient, in the forgotten capital. I like that. That's really cool. Much respect. I know they ain't cheap, so mucho respecto. Oh, you got like an art book as well? That's crazy. Oh, nice. You got pictures. You get pictures of scenes, different scenes from the game, and the title of each track. Nice. Nice. Because I noticed on the Spotify version, well, I noticed when I did the digital downloads version of Rebirth, it doesn't have the music for Kitty and her missions. I think that's on. I think that's on like disc 8. I think. But that is seriously nice. Some good hardware. Some good shit. I thought about getting like a physical copy of Rebirth or Remake maybe, but the separate disc is the Orchestra World Tour tracks. Ah, okay. I see. I see. All right. Well, I appreciate that, Jax. Thank you for sharing that with us. Oh yeah, we're back with more
Fimbulwinter had worn down some of
God of
Odin's
War.
curses. You still needed help. Was it Sigrun who helped you recover your warrior spirit?
Is that how Odin liked to refer to the curse that kept me from defending myself?
Oh, I suppose that is where I heard it.
Would you like to know how that curse really worked? What it did to me? What it cost me to finally break it?
A lot.
I'm no longer sure that I do.
That's correct.
Yeah, Fred's like, no. Alright, let's go. I think we've already done. Wait, have we upgraded everything we need to upgrade? I'm not sure. I'll just double check. 4.
I'll disinfect my tools.
Ooh. Well, that's upgradable. Wait, did I not?
A good
Why
fit.
not? A little bit closer to level 5. Well, you can't see it, but I'm getting closer, which is nice.
I'll heat up the forge.
Okay. Well, let's get out of here then. Let's head back to Sindri's house and think of a plan. Yeah. No, I appreciate it because like it's a big old like Rebirth one is a
Now tell
big
me what this
old
power Heimdall wields.
piece of
Is this the
hardware.
future?
More like he reads the person, sees their intention.
My intent will be to kill him. Knowing that will be no advantage.
Brother, this is no one to underestimate. Any move you make, he'll have seen it coming. If you must face him, we need something else. An edge. Humor me?
Very well. We will ask the dwarves.
Ah, the inevitable asking of the dwarves.
Ask the dwarves.
Excuse me, sir. Could I have a moment of your time? Oh dear, what's to be done?
Oh, hello.
What is it you want?
It has come to my attention that Nithog has been slain, and as a result, her offspring
Ah,
have been
yeah,
let
that-
loose into the Nine Realms.
That might have been us.
Unfortunately, without a proper role model to supervise them, the little rascals are certain to fall to mischief. In time, said mischief could culminate in nothing less than their devouring of the Nine Realms entirely. In order to avoid such a grisly fate, I'd like you to bring the Lindworms to me. I believe I can act as a satisfactory paternal figure in their upbringing. You'll find the specimens gnawing on tears throughout the realms. Use this device to safely store them, bring them back to me, and I promise I'll make it worth your while.
You mean to say you'd raise them by yourself?
Indeed. I have no small experience managing extreme
Okay, fair enough.
personalities. Compared to wrestling with my emotions in the most literal of senses, I dare say raising a handful of lean worms will be a walk in the park. All that said, I'm happy to discuss anything else on your mind.
So... Gale Spark Lindworm Scales. Ooh. Maybe I might do some of those off stream. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. It's like some of them is just like side quests. I'm just like unless I'm getting my ass kicked in like main story, then
They're back.
Simmer down. I see him.
hello.
I have news.
Oh. Did the Norns tell you how to get Atreus back? Do we have a plan?
The Norns say Atreus will be killed by Heimdall. The plan is to kill Heimdall first.
Oh, wow. Okay, Heimdall. Let's see. Never loses, sees everything coming, unpopular at parties. This won't be easy.
Whatever his advantages, I will overwhelm him with my own.
That's the idea. You gotta overpopulate his senses, see? And I got just the thing in mind to help you.
Ooh.
do it. Sindri, go get Dropnir.
Dropnir? But we need it. Our supplies.
Oh, we got plenty. And to spare.
Even if we did, Dropnir's no weapon. Why would a... Oh. You mean we combine it with...
That's right.
And then when he... It'll go... Damn you, that's brilliant. Very well. I suppose there's nothing to do, but... Go fetch Dropnir.
Yeah, in your own time, buddy.
Dropnir. I bloody knew these two had nicked it. And Odin blamed me for it disappearing.
They stole Dropnir.
We didn't steal nothing. We just ungifted what never should have been gifted in the first place.
How will it help me kill Heimdall?
Never you mind all that.
Oh, I don't think Sindri wants to do it.
We're artistes.
But to even store Dropnir, you'd need...
You were saying?
You were saying?
So now you intend to kill Heimdall. Violence cannot prevent violence, Kratos. I truly thought you understood that.
No matter what you thought I understood, my son is in danger. I will not allow harm to come to him.
Come on, stay on. The car this movie purchase was quite significant for me because when I got the movie on VHS damn near 20 years ago, so when I saw it, I knew I had to buy it. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense for you to do that. Just for that emotional attachment. Nostalgia. Oh. A lot of rings?
Oh, I'm gonna miss you, little one.
Oh.
Got it! I think.
Well, you hope. You better hope that's the real one.
I thought you didn't believe in fate. We are all worried about your son. We need...
Enough! Heimdall's a threat, not only to Atreus, but to everyone. He's Odin's left hand, and he carries the horn that begins Ragnarok. If we have the chance to eliminate him, we
And
should...
it's just as likely a trap because the bastard knows your intentions. Kratos, I've never seen anyone so much as lay a finger on him. Not one.
Well, I gathered what's fit for gathering.
How long will it take?
We'll have to go to Svartalfheim to get the rest of the materials.
I bet Heimdall sees everything coming.
Oh. That's a relief.
Huh?
Ow. Kratos? Whenever you're ready.
Ah, so it's one ring and it's just materialized into millions and millions.
The lady.
No idea what he's on about, brother.
I know you mean well with us. But to be honest, I'm only just realizing all the little routines I've had to adopt taking care of Dropnir. I'll miss melting rings down for crafting gold, but I suppose we have enough to see us through to Ragnarok. Too
I'm
soon?
ready when you are.
Probably. Probably too soon. I told it here. Nope. Alright. Let's go to Svartalfheim then.
See you out there.
Which thankfully we've already been
Time to
to.
go see the lady. I'll take it from here.
Oh, no. This whole thing were my idea. I'll speak to the lady. I never get to speak to the lady.
There are reasons for that.
Brock will go.
What? No, no, no. I have
You
to.
heard him.
Oh.
I ain't gonna mess nothing up.
Wait.
What the? No, you pimpin' shrimps. Think that'll keep us out? Well, think the fuck again.
What was all that then?
Oh, just Sindri trying to hog all the glory. Same old shit.
Not that. The gate. What's wrong with a bloody gate?
Most likely someone in Nidavellir been making a fuckery of the works. Probably on account of all that incursioning you got up to. But don't worry, you little dangling head. Old Brock came prepared. I got ways in and out from the old days. Gates said never even think to look for. On account of being stupid.
Yeah, because Sindri only told Atreus that he died
Where
and
are we?
This here's your stop.
got
End in service.
and had to reach down and grab his soul
I'll meet you
from the
up
Well of
there.
Souls.
Go on.
Brock.
But only got
And he's
75.
gone.
Only got 75% of
Sure
him.
he was the right pick for this, brother.
I trust him. He speaks plain.
And yet so colorfully.
And yet so colourfully.
Unusual surface here. Elvish, I think.
What did I just do? Find a path to the service. Service? Surface. Words are hard. Oh. Okay. Well, there's berserker gravestones everywhere. Nice. Yggdrasil Rift. Oh, there's two. Oh, there's like 3 here. Pardon me.
There. We keep cooperating, maybe someday it'll be Asgard in flames.
That is not my goal.
Doesn't mean it's not your destiny.
What did you insinuate, Highness?
Not a thing.
Not a thing. That's the thing, because, well, in the prophecy, Asgard burns, Asgard falls, but all the other realms are fine.
Poor bugger. Why would he hide in here?
He feared something in these tunnels more than he feared starving.
Hardly seems rational.
Fear seldom is.
And she's kind of just thinking, well, you know, you say you're not going to put it outside the ground, but, you know, if Atreus is in danger, then you probably will. Basically. Which, I mean, Freya's not wrong, because, God forbid, if something happens to Atreus, I think Kratos would literally crack the earth in half. He would crack Midgard in, like, itself in half. You know what I mean? And then, like, just, yeah, split it in half, just for revenge. Oh, ow. Oh, please politely fuck off. Just leave me alone. Please.
Well, I can see why it's an abandoned service tunnel.
Why, that's there.
Careful, brother. That looks flammable.
What looks flammable? What? When? How? Blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna hit it. Boof. Yep. Oh, honed metal. Nice. Okay.
Another
Continue.
oil spill. Ah, a fortuitous oil spill.
Indeed. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, they're dead. One dead. You little bitch. Sorry, Freya. That's big boom. Big boom indeed. And stab, stab, stab. Death. That's all of them?
Kratos, please listen. You have to let me take God's place. He can't talk to the lady. He mustn't.
No. Do not ask again.
But... Oh dear.
He's probably gonna. I think the lady's probably gonna. I'm guessing the lady is like the lady of the souls or something, and she's gonna say like, "Hey, you're not fully complete, by the way." Because you actually died, and then your brother brought you back to life. Oh boy, it's gonna be a bit of a.
His fault Atreus ran off him. Or are you just being Brock's champion?
There it is again. You're insinuating, and you know it.
Can't the smartest man alive put it together? The Giants conceal a mysterious figure who changes the fate of Ragnarok, and you're oblivious to the only rational candidate. The one who's fought wars against gods and won.
I am not their champion.
Well, we're each entitled to our opinion.
I am not their champion. Well, you know, it's just my opinion, Kratos. It's just my opinion.
Careful, brother. That looks very fucking penetrative.
Jesus Christ. Thank you, Jax. Careful. I didn't even say careful. Oh, that's why, because it wasn't spelled correctly. That scared the shit out of me. Appreciate it, though. Alright, yeah, that does have Mimir. Mimir! Ooh. Ooh. Hmm. I'm okay with that, to be honest. Oh, it's like a gate.
These gates seem to be connected. See if you can break that far fixture. It's open.
Like that. That's how I do it. More. Oh, hello. Onk. Oh, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, please. Bonk. Whoa! It's kind of cool. Oh. I'm about to die. Yeah, scout for it, please. Oh! Fucking hell, Kratos, calm down.
Well, that was a bloody heartier sort of grim. Easy tunnels for the dwarves to take back.
I'm kidding.
We'll need to get one of those gates open.
But how? Okay, so...
Ah, we've seen these troughs before, haven't we, brother?
Oh, the water troughs. Oh, wait. That means we've got to break the... Stop it with ice, and it drops down. Yeah, ha 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 ha.
Shall we?
This opinion of yours, was that the reason you proposed this alliance? You expect me to lead your armies at Ragnarok? That is Tyr's job, not mine.
It's plain to see Tyr's no war god anymore.
Nor am I. I have left that life behind.
Not killing gods, you haven't. Or else what are we doing in this realm? Forging this weapon? Your choice. You know where it might lead.
I am only protecting
I know. I know. And we both know the places protecting your child can take you.
Again, she's right. She's not wrong. She's right.
Sigil arrows won't work on this.
Digital arrows won't work on this. Aren't you a potty pooper? Ah, hold on.
Sigil arrows won't work on this.
That's gotta work. There we go. That's 2. Where's the 3rd one?
Now, where have they got the third one hidden away?
Yeah. Haha. Look at me. Some mort. I bet it's a bloodhorn. Blood mead horn thing. Oh, it's apple. Oh. Beautiful.
Careful! Those Grim are possessed by nightmares. They'll be even more dangerous until we...
Oh, what a nightmare they are. That was bad. Shortcut. Well, that's one way to kill him. Ah. I'm about to die. I have been poisoned. And I am doing... He did? He did? No, 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 no. Damn it, Kratos.
Atreus' mother was a giant, isn't that right?
She was one of the Jotnar.
Yes. I didn't mean she was tall as a house. I know not all giants are giants.
Not that there's anything wrong with the disparity in size.
Exactly, Mimir.
Or number of limbs, say.
Nothing in the world.
Exactly. Exactly. I guess we climb up. Hang on. Ooh. Chest. Chesty chest. Oh, honed that metal. Nice. Actually, is it worth checking the other path? Oh, I mean, it would help if the water actually was going that way. Oh. We've got to find a way to turn it at some point. That's fine. I thought maybe the water was flowing both ways, but it's not. That's on me. Oh, honed metal. Nice. Ah, this is where you turn it. Now it goes the other way.
There. Now we can open the other gate.
I just done that and then.
Why is it you ask?
I was just thinking of how Odin antagonized the giants for generations. nearly wiped them out of existence twice. Now you may have a role to play in stopping him once and for all. Don't you think it's possible that's what your wife would have wanted?
Do not presume to know what she wanted.
I'm not saying anything you haven't thought. Her secrets haunt every step of your path, wasn't it? Maybe if you talked about your doubts, they wouldn't explode when you talked to your son.
I do not doubt. She knows what I left behind. She would never have asked that of me.
Why would she need to ask? She saw your fate. 3 of Odin's kin dead because of the path she put you on. You don't think she knew exactly what it meant, sending you to Jotunheim?
This is mere conjecture and probably quite enough of it, Highness. We're all making an effort to cooperate here, after all.
Friends laugh.
You're right.
Teamwork.
I mean, Freya's right in a sense, but then also Mimir is also sort of correct.
And they're angry.
Mimir is also like correct because, you know, they are working together. You know, they want to try and keep that alliance. But then you know, Kratos said he left that life behind, but has he really? Is he still fighting gods? Oh, fucking alright. That was a bit sick. I can't. Punch, stab, stab, and then whiplash with a bit of flame. Fucking bitch. Come on then. Come on, you little shit. Yeah, that's what I thought. Punch, stab again, slunk, and then good stuff.
Well, who's ready for some fresh air after that? Everyone? Thought so.
Everyone.
I can feel it.
Everyone, I thought so. Like nobody even said anything. He's like, yeah, I think everyone wants some fresh air. Health back. Oh, is this gonna be England? No. Ah. Okay, just the yeah. Cool. I'm not mad at that. Fight anything, so that was.
I wasn't trying to provoke you or cast doubt on your marriage. It just seems to me your thoughts haven't caught up to your instincts yet. And I know something about that.
But then if Odin's got him and, you know.
When we get out of here, I'll give you some space. Let you think carefully about whether you're ready for what it means to make this weapon. And to use it.
I think Kratos is starting to realize, I think that she's, like, Freya's right. In a sense.
Meanwhile, I'll see what else I can learn while we're here. Maybe I'll send a few Einherjar back to Valhalla for good measure.
Well, you have fun now.
Hey, you made it. About time.
Oh yeah,
Got
look, yeah.
everything all set here. Now we just gotta push on up to the fort.
Falky!
Alright, looks like we're gallivanting with Brock.
Sure did go to pains coming here, busting old Tyr loose. What a prize he turned out to be, huh? Lucid enough when it's time to steal my kitchen, though.
I mean,
What we doing, butt sausage? Where we going, huh? Ha! Better check out that net, or it'll be eyeball city out here.
You're not wrong, buddy. You're not wrong. Okay, how much XP have I have? 6,000. I need 9, don't I? I need 9 for Spartan Rage. Yeah, right. We'll save it for Spartan Rage and then think about upgrading more skills, I guess, or something.
But no wonder they shut the Here it comes. Yeah, hit me already.
Oh yeah, because we were here before, weren't we, with Atreus?
Forge ahead. Unintended, I imagine.
Okay.
Hang on. Almost got it. There. Well, come on in, stranger.
You get used to that trick.
Locals up ahead. Act civilized and hopefully nobody springs an alarm. No, quit your nattering, you steak-sucking mommy milksops with your protective gear. Ain't you never seen a legend in the flesh before?
They're probably muttering because they're like, wasn't he dead?
Oh, that ain't no good.
Wonder. Might be.
You see what's wrong here, don't you? Those creepy flying eyeballs made a nest.
Oh yeah, I
of
see that.
cables. We gotta figure a way up there and clear them all.
Try the Nightmare Horn to release the lift. Well, how do we get up there exactly? So just follow Brock.
That ain't coming back down till we deal with that nest up there. Come on, let's try to get closer.
Another nightmare! To the left! Above you, brother!
Nice. Nice one, Brock.
Okay, looks like that wheel up there opens the gate. Not that we can reach it or anything.
There you can. Probably. That's a lift.
No grappling up that way. Why don't you look around, see if there's a way to lift this lift?
Maybe. It's like this. It's one of these ones where you got to shut the hatch.
Now we're talking! Hang on, coming around!
Brother, did you notice the dwarves of the camp were twice as alarmed to see Brock than they were to see you?
They did seem surprised.
All right. Now I can turn this crank and cap that geyser there. You just give me the signal when you're ready.
Now,
On it! Well, that got the gate open, but you kind of need to be up here to use it, you dig? He ascends!
He ascends.
Of course, now the gate's closed.
turn it.
Copy that. Hey, I got the crank covered. You do the other stuff.
Ah, promising.
Turn it again.
Aye, aye.
Ah, so we gotta land. We're gonna go on this, haven't we? Assume. We gotta push it or something. I don't know.
Once more.
Aye, aye. There you go. Right on the money.
Again.
And then I guess you stop that one. Then
Come on through and get those cables.
voila! There you go. Got there in the end.
Well, I think they seen us.
Don't know what gave that away, but yeah.
Incoming! Above you! Finally! Now we can ride on up to the fort. Come on! The lady's waiting. Hey, got another riddle for you. What gets bigger the more you take away from it?
Well, let's see. Something abstract, I expect. Appetite? No, that doesn't work.
Stomp to stomp.
Oh, isn't that clever? Bam.
That's probably like foreshadowing or something. Maybe you got to hop in the shower. No worries, man. No worries. Good. Oh,
Oh,
dear.
that's brisk. Think I'll grab some for the lady.
Grab some what? The wind?
No, you idiot. The sound of the wind.
How?
Watch and learn. See? Dwarven magic's all about the intangibles. The relationship between the stuff what you can touch and what you can't. It's about
You
understanding.
can look, but you can't
Understanding
touch.
what?
The nature of a thing's more important than the form of a thing. Hang on. I smell trouble. Show me what you got.
There we go. Ow.
Over here.
Bonk. Nice. Chopped in half.
So this
Oh.
lady then.
The Lady of the Forge. Ain't no more magical creature in this whole realm. Why, I've been waiting for my chance to meet her since I was knee-high to a Noken. But Sindri'd never have it. Said I was too uncouth. But today's finally the day. Whoa! I got goosebumps on my bunions.
Why, bro, I've never seen you so reverent. Are you nervous?
What? Shut up. No, fuck you.
Shut up. No.
Does not work.
Fuck you.
What is it this time? Out of the way. Let me look. Oh, fuck no. Do I gotta fix everything in this dang city my own self? I'm gonna need a couple of things. Follow me. Yeesh. This place ain't in some disrepair. It's disrespectful, I tell you. I need that axe of ours to go kiss that material out yonder. The spiky, silvery stuff. You'll figure it out.
What?
This lady, what does she do?
Well, we'll both see soon enough, won't we? I know this, though. If we're real lucky, she'll give us her blessing. She doesn't give them to every piece, but the ones she does, there's something to behold.
Yes?
Well, that particular process was a whole nother cluster hump. Maybe sometime I'll spin you that. He's the only one who ever got my highbrow sense of humor. Damn fine woman she was. Apart from her taste in men, of course. Now I need a chunk of that bronze material over by all that busted up wood.
The bronze
Back
do.
in those days, I'd get so caught up in trying to be the best that I'd work till I plumb dropped. Time goes by and there's less to prove. You learn to keep your own pace. Save your extra effort for when it's personal. Like for when you finally get to show the lady who you are.
Ah.
Wow, Cody, you sure did give up on that riddle in a hurry.
I give up nothing. Bigger the more you take away, is it?
That's right.
Sorted. It's desire.
Nope.
What do you mean, nope? Desire only grows when you take away the thing you desire. All right, it's not perfect, but let's hear your answer.
Oh, you won't get it out of me that easy.
I wonder what it is.
Let's get back to business.
Shadow? No.
One more crank to turn
No, it's not.
and it's on to the forge.
I see no forge.
You don't see the form of a forge, but we're going to the nature of one.
I was almost following him for a moment there.
We're good. Crank it.
Where is the forge?
Here she comes.
Whoa. Oh, wow. Whoa. Oh, that's the spear you get Kratos has. Oh, shit. Oh. That's fucking cool.
She needs the final ingredient. The blood of a god. Give her your hand.
This is gonna go right, isn't it? This is gonna go fine. It's like, I'll just chop your arm off real quick. Look at her, she's like... in. Ooh. Oh! She's made the symbol for God of War, Omega. That's the symbol, isn't it? Omega? I'm sure it's Omega. That's the symbol for it. Oh, ad break. I'll pause. Apologies, everybody. Literally right there, of all places. Yeah. Ooh, but yeah, 3 minutes of ads, so bear with. I'm just going to checking a few things whilst we wait. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, that was a huge stretch. Oh, God. I think once the cutscenes and all that is done as well, I'll need a toilet, so I'll do it then. Keep it going the right way, though. Damn. Oof. Eesh. Right, there's England are playing Netherlands in the football right now, so I'm just watching. Semi-final. It's 1-1. And just scored a penalty. It's the Harry Kane. Actually, there's 30 seconds left. I'll pop to the toilet quickly now. Actually, I'll give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
The lead. Tie the leader.
Yeah, like literally, it's like bringing a Nerf gun to a real fight with a pistol. I don't know how I get kills with it. I really don't.
Gain the lead.
Clip it now. Jesus. I remember doing it as a kid. I remember doing it. I've definitely missed something, haven't I? No, I'm just gonna leave the level. I think that's probably the best thing to do here. Needed that pee pretty badly, so. Oh, right. Okay. Welcome back from the ends, everybody. Let's see what. So we've got the ring back now. But obviously, it's been revamped. Kratos. Music, though. That's fucking sick. Spear.
You almost forgot. Ma'am, it would be an honor if you might bless it for us. like I weren't even here.
Mermaids don't speak to our corporeal bodies. They speak to a part of our soul. A part specifically you might be missing.
Me and you.
Fuck! Damn it, Sindri, you Alliance cat scrubber! I knew it. I died. I fucking died! The fuck you want?
It needs a blessing.
Yeah, well, the one to give us the blessing just fucked off into the tomb.
It needs the blessing of a great blacksmith.
What? No, I can't bless shit. I don't have all my soul bits. The blessing wouldn't mean squat.
It is the nature of a thing that matters, not its form.
Aww.
All right. May this weapon strike true. May it be wielded with wisdom. May it be put down when its job is done.
That was nice of Kratos. To cheer him up a little bit.
Let us return home.
Oh, and that probably opens.
Now you know I can't let you take our new cow home without getting
Oh, this spear. Oh, there we go.
volunteers.
That's why we got so much XP now. We're gonna probably need we're probably gonna have some skill upgrades for this now too. Oh, and thingamabobbies as well. Runic attacks.
It is the first weapon a Spartan learns.
What hell? Ain't this just like old?
All times there, yeah.
Put this more forebodingly myself. That groom's found a perch on high.
Go on, Kratos, fucking pop off. Boy. Throw me. Ah, okay. Nice. 2, 3, 4. Oh, fuck, let's go. Oh!
It will serve.
Full serve. Oh, let's fucking go.
The drop here spear's looking pretty battle-worthy to me. Let's see if she can help us get out of here, too. Yeah?
So any
Guess we're doing this one boy style.
any like cracks, gold cracks.
What you said back there.
Use the spear.
Good to have friends when you find out your brother's a rack-scabbing liar.
No doubt he only wished to protect you.
Weren't his call to make. The guy dies, he's got the right to know about it.
Take heart, Brock. We all die sometime. Many of us more than once.
No, never mind all that. We gotta finish putting the spear through her paces. Come on. Might have to get creative up ahead.
Alright, let's go.
Nightmare on the left. Oh, lick my spear. There's eyeball nests all over. Get your throwing arm in here.
Nastier than Brock.
Oh, I like this weapon.
Dang that!
I do like this weapon.
Above you, brother.
Better take out that jet or it'll be eyeball city out here.
Yeah, I know.
Right side, brother!
Stop bumpering around and smash that thing before more things come out. No.
Nasty hit! You alright, brother?
Oh, come on.
Don't you see where they're coming from?
Yes, I'm trying. I'm trying, buddy. I'm trying. And then... Ah.
Fear in anything like that's a sure way to alter your circumstances on the right quick. Yeah. See? You're a natural.
I am a natural. I just love destroying things.
Any more guesses, belt boy?
Oh, alright. Gets bigger the more you take away. Is it time? Because the more removed from events you become, the larger their scope in your memory. No, that's bollocks now that I say it. Never mind.
It's all right.
Today's alright.
Them eyeballs are taking over the ground. We better beat them out. What's your left?
Bitch. Do like the sphere.
Show me what you got.
Right.
Well, that was...
Oh, we can make ledges. Oh, that's quite cool. Actually, that's quite cool.
It's all about the proper angle with those puppies. You want it straight on. I'm telling you, you're too far to the side.
Yeah, I know. I know.
One of these old children! Put it in the trap!
Oh.
Great! You got him!
Oh, hello there.
Sorry, didn't mean to scare you or anything.
You did not.
Right,
You did not.
You can bring that back to Ratatoskru whenever you're ready.
Ooh. Kind of attuned elements. I'm right, I'm taking that. Spear attacks against burning or frosted enemies deal bonus damage. Ooh. Nice, okay. Atlas Eruption. Ooh. Ooh. Repeatedly slam both blades into the ground to spark explosions all around. Mash R2 for more slams. I think we'll go with that. Oh, you can change the element on it. Ooh, okay. Put up near spear. You got skills for it now. Okay. Melee. There. Okay, nice. So we're just gonna start pumping stuff into there now instead of Spartan range, because fuck it, why not? It's fine. Why bloody not?
Ah, that's blocked.
Oh, there's probably a... If I jump up here... Ah! Look out below!
Got one last favor to ask of the both of you, and we can call it.
You listen to the soundtrack through your Xbox?
What happened
Nice.
down there in the forge with the lady? That's my story to tell, all right?
Agreed.
Oh, very well.
Oh, he's a...
These ugly bugs. Maybe those Grim will take him down. Nope.
Brain tells me that's not gonna...
Tell me? Better men have tried. And women. And dogs.
Bro.
Hey! Call it all Texas Grim. Poison, right side.
Come on, come on, come on. Push.
I always was crazy.
Oof. Welcome back, man. How was your shower?
I got no time for you. What's your left?
Ah, so if it's not like blue or red, then it's wind, so you need the spear to...
Oh boy, that's probably enough heart pumping for me today. You pick up the loot.
Oh, Jewel of Yggdrasil. Nice. More enchantments. Oh, light runic attack. Huldra charge. Nice. Sword hilt. Ooh. What track you listen to at the moment, Jax?
Thank you, Brock. It is a good spear.
Damn straight it is.
Woohoo! 6 slots. Let's go. I can upgrade this. Oh, I'll be level 5 now. Let's go.
Reckon I see how you...
Okay, I'm going through all of them because I'm going through them all because all the names are in Japanese, so you can't stand of it. Ah, I see. Really? I thought. Oh no, yeah. I suppose remake is one was like that. It's like Japanese symbols, and then in brackets, it's the name of the song.
You'll be getting down to
Rebirth
my
isn't like that though, which is
Best
odd.
I find my own way back.
Yep.
Been too auspicious a day to end it.
Oh, that's fucking sick.
And I'll get those gates working for you.
I only hope Sindri's in one piece by the time Brock's done with him. The ice beneath those two is thin enough under the best of circumstances.
You're right there, buddy. Cool, then we got another weapon. That's nice. Uh-oh.
Where is everyone?
Now a good time. I just want to talk. Dad to dad. Speaking of which, imagine my surprise when Atreus came knocking at my door. He's doing well, by the way, and will continue to do so just as long as I return to Asgard sometime soon. Besides, our friend here has a whole lot to live for.
Arguable.
Run along now, but behave yourself. New spear. Never much cared for Brock. Can't deny the dwarf's talent.
You came to speak. Speak.
You don't really want war, do you, Kratos? All that blood on your hands, on your son's hands. I want peace as much as you do. Perhaps we can find it together.
He's lying.
I know.
That boy of ours. He's everything I expected. So clever, kind. You sure he's yours? A kid. You really ought to be very proud. He is the key to peace in our age, to break free from all this fate and prophecy.
My son is not your key.
Oh, God, do they not have metaphor in your homeland? Or rather, did they? I'm sorry, that's not fair. I know you're not the god you once were. And now is your chance to prove it.
Return my son, or you may meet the god I once was.
And what kind of god is that, Kratos?
He knows.
What do you even know of godhood? In your lifetimes, has anyone ever worshipped you? Ever prayed to you? Can you even imagine that kind of love? No! You don't care about mortals. You don't care about anything beyond yourself, beyond the monster who kills without cause. You fear what you can never even hope to understand. Is it any wonder that your boy is in no rush to come back to you?
Don't listen to him, brother. He's just trying to get in your head.
Oh, I think he already has.
Bastard. The nerve of him showing up here. At least you rattled him as much as he rattled you.
Oh, Freya got a shitload of XP. Let's go. Yeah, where was Freya in all this? Love to know. Oh, Spartan Rage. Yes. Nice. Yeah, I won't touch that ever again. So I can fully focus on the spear. What do I need to upgrade it? No. I'll have to check the forge. The soundtrack is from Japan, so yeah. No, yeah, that does make sense.
Good timing. Let's see what Brock made you.
Oh, hey. Hi, Freya. What donk? It's funny, like, she was right there. He was right outside where Odin turned up. A little too suspicious for my liking.
So that's the weapon? A drop near spear?
The Dropnir spear.
Well, any given number of Dropnir spears, I suppose.
Come on, I found a gate. We just need to take the train down.
I do worry, though, if I'm being frank. We've crafted a weapon to kill a god. One could say you're on the verge of returning to form.
Does it scare you? Aiding another violent god?
I'm scared for you, brother. That spear could start a war. The war. If that no longer concerns you, then maybe Freya's right. Maybe the giants had you in mind all along.
And all that, and that interaction with Odin has not helped at all. Because that's what Odin was trying to do, probably, is to stoke the fires and be like, well, come on then, let's have a war. Let's try and take your son away from me. You know? That's how it's manipulation.
So this Dropnir spear, you're prepared to use it?
To protect Atreus. I am no one's champion but his, nor no one's god. That may be my form. It is not my nature. Do you understand?
I guess a difference of opinion is hardly the most I'm setting aside for this alliance. As long as the plan is to kill Heimdall, the rest matters little.
There's also the bit of news that Odin has some inkling of what we're up to.
I thought I heard ravens. Damn it. What did he say?
Lies, threats, and more lies. What did you expect?
You think he lies that Atreus is in Asgard?
No. On that, I'm afraid I believe him.
Then the rest matters little.
I saw a gateway near here, overlooking the bay. We can get to it with your spear, I think. This way.
Oh, look, there's another,
Another Berserker gravestone. You know what to do, brother.
Right.
After the field of Callus.
Oh, the king! Fucking hell, okay. Oh, you little bastard. Oh. Switching up his attacks.
Behind you! Look out!
Ow. wow, 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 wow. Oh, shit, I'm dead.
Come on, Kratos, off your back.
Welcome to my humble abode in his alley. I can get him, I think. I had the spears as well I could have used.
After the field of Kala. For the king! Fall before me!
I know, Freya. Whoa. Yes, I've got a bit more skills now with the Oop. Oh, that's a big damage. Oh, big damage. Big damage. Big damage. Huge. I'm aware. Oh. Oh my god, you're so dead. Fuck you. Oh, bitch.
Good riddance, you feckless ballbag.
Oh, that was close. I thought I was gonna die then.
Do me a favour, brother. You see any more of these ghostly berserker tossers, give them the same. You'll be doing the Nine Realms a favour.
Did these warriors wrong you at some point?
Asgard's fortitude. Hmm.
You're quite agitated, even for you.
No need to rehash ancient history if it's all the same to you.
Very well.
Okay. That was good. Nice. Maybe I should try more of those. Maybe. I don't know. The one in Midgard was quite... The one in Midgard was definitely more difficult than that one. Surprised how not easy, but like how I did it second try.
Big guy.
Hi Dylan.
Speak.
Need you to get something for me. A hammer.
A weapon.
No. A forge hammer. Little thing. Symbol of the old resistance. Guild, solidarity, all that. Or it used to be anyway, till the Aesir buried it under that big, gaudy dwarf statue in the bay. Might do the dwarves some good to see it again.
You're not worried that might draw the Einherjar's attention?
The old father nearly slit my throat just to get to you. I might be past giving a shit what he thinks. Just find me at the bar when you've got it.
Actually, this is the one that's in the separate case entirely contains all the Chocobo racing songs. Oh.
Aye, might be worth looking for Durlin's hammer while we're at it. Your choice, of course.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I think doesn't it have like the Kyrie's theme as well on it? Of some sort. Spirit of Rebellion. Yeah, let's go. Let's go to this side quest for Durlin. And then I think then we'll leave. We'll head back to Sindri's.
Headed back to the city?
Oh! Hey, why'd I go this way for? Didn't want to go this way. My bad. Thank you, Freya, for telling me.
Ah, with the mining rigs disabled, it seems a bit fresher out here.
Not seems. Is.
Yes.
You're right. Thanks, brother. If memory serves, we're heading in the right direction to find that
Dragon Beach.
dwarven-
Oh, that gives me
Durlin's
comfort.
hammer shouldn't be far behind.
Fucking Dragon's Beach. Oh.
From behind!
Oh. Okay. I'm about to die. But, you know.
Behind you! Watch out!
It's fine, probably. Ow. Okay. That's a worm. Fuckity, 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 fuck.
Poison left side!
Changing arrows!
Oh, well, I'm totally gonna die, aren't I? Yes, I can hear the...
Incoming right side!
Jesus Christ.
Up there! Grimoire's coming this way!
Oh, is that all of them? Thank God. Look at this new stamp song. Oh yeah. Bow wow wow. Bow wow wow. We'll run and then it'll stand. Gotta break the seals. Okay, so we gotta look for... We basically gotta look for water geysers. Geysers? Geysers. That was, and the battle theme, the stamp battle theme was actually quite good as well, actually. I can't lie.
Is someone there? Please. I need help. What do you want? Well, to put it simply, treasure. The cache just over there, to be precise. My son and I,
we came to these isles to uncover its riches. I feared it was too dangerous, so I came along. And was, well, seemingly proven right.
Is that why you haven't moved on?
My son, I suspect he went in search of the second half of the treasure. Please find him and tell me his fate. If you require a reward, you may help yourself to the treasure. It doesn't matter to me anymore. We were sailors once. Left Midgard to see.
Cool story, bro.
The remains are old. His son is surely gone by now.
It costs us little to make sure.
Really?
What's that? Oh no, hello. Oh, you're level 6. Oh, yeah. Ah, you little bitch. We're not making a dent in him. Shit.
Kratos, we need you.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. There's a new merc. A new merc in town. That's on there as well. I thought so. It's not. It's not on the spot of the other version because I think it's because the extra disc. Because only got 7 discs, quote unquote. I'm your friendly merc, so give me some work. There's a new merc in town. She's like the best, the of a business, so come on down.
Durlin's hammer.
Still in one piece after all this time. Unlike Durlin's resistance, I suppose.
We will take this to him.
Ah, you fucking bitch. I'm aware. Oh, you fucking bastard. Ow. Ow. I do have a shield, I just refuse to fucking use it. Punch. Dream of Beck's squad theme in the battle version. Oh yeah. Beck's Badasses was a good one too, actually.
The broken Muspelheim seed is now complete.
Hmm.
We should find a mystic gateway.
Oh,
Perhaps we'll find Surtur's combat challenges.
you can go to Muspelheim now. Yeah, we got the first half of it quite early too. Oh.
that thing to shut up!
Think I'm not trying?
Southwind! It attacks from above!
Oh shit, I need to find the thing that's...
Poison! Right side!
Hold on. Frog theme is this disc? Oh yeah. Frog Fall Guys minigame. What? Ormstunga? I'm sorry, what now? I'm fighting a fucking boss? Since bloody when? Need health first, you fucking clown. A terrible decision. Okay. So as soon as I blow that up, I'm freeing him, basically. Cool. Alright, let's do it, I guess. I can see. Oh, come on, I fucking blocked. Oh, fucking. And that all wrong, didn't I? Fuck me. Alright. Come on. Do a bit better, please. Oh my god, come on. What the fuck was I meant to know they were going to do an attack?
Shade it clean, and make it gleam like the midday sun. Buff it fine, and make it shine bright for everyone.
Like that. Oh, yeah, I know that. I know what you're referring to now. Okay. I see where that's going. Yeah, that's actually a pretty cool song, actually. What the fuck are you meant to dodge that? He attacks like so goddamn fucking quickly. Bro, you want from me? Yeah. Chris would definitely be part of that club. Okay. Can we try again, please? See, like, my reaction times are shocking at best. And I'm like, I mean, go on, Freya, pop off. Oh my god, thank God.
Between the creatures and all the debris, no one could have made it out of here alive.
Emblem of Illusion. Gain a burst of speed while traveling and increased distance when evading. That was a painful fucking boss fight, wasn't it? Oh, another Lindworm. Trap it, trap it, trap it, trap it, please. Thank you.
Got him!
Another one already? Great!
Why exactly do you keep popping up, little one? Does your boss have you spying on us?
No. That. Sorry. Next
Jumpy
time I'll
little
try to be more
fella,
helpful and brief.
The tunnel must open up.
Hail spark. Oh, that's probably for the. That is probably. That's probably for the Here. Can I throw it over?
I can see the rubble from here, brother. Feels like we're in the right place.
Oh, this is where the lost treasure was. Fucking, oh, that's so you had to fight a boss to get it. Jeepers. Huh.
Quite the sum there, brother.
We will find the ghost son.
Really? His request isn't a distraction?
He does not know his son's fate.
I see. Okay then.
That makes sense.
Kratos, don't you have a way through that door?
Ooh. Hello.
Found something good?
Yes.
Materials for stuff. That's the sun. I'm guessing you have to you find. Okay, so he's there, isn't he? Okay, so let's go find his son. Yeah, that makes sense if each of the discs are main region. How are we doing for skills? Oh, Freya has quite a bit. Let's stamp. Do that. There's some more spear stuff. Alberic Island. Oh, there's a berserker
Isle seems abandoned.
interesting here too.
Behind you, Kratos!
I'm gonna die.
Right side, brother!
Incoming poison! Back here!
Impressive!
battle that grave will provide.
Okay. Oh, Mount Coral theme? Mount Coral theme's really good. Oh, handbrake. Apologies. I realized there was ads going on. Yeah, Mount Coral theme's really, really good. And the battle theme is called Firework Blade. Yeah, Firework Blade, I think it's called. Really good song from Rebirth. Ads are about to finish, so I need to find a way to. Okay, so that one takes a long time, so I might do that one first. Oh, man. Nice. It's gonna be a horn. It's an apple. That's crazy. I want this one. Let's do it. Let's try this Berserker trial.
They gather the fear.
Oh, so you're like a... Okay. To dodge. Whoa. Oh, I fucking fell. I didn't realize the red circle on the hole. Shit. My bad. I'll try once more. I have full health and whatnot.
They gather the fear.
Fucking hell. Attack is kind of crazy. Not gonna lie. Bonk. the fuck are you meant to dodge that last minute by the looks of it? Yep. Oh, yeah, fuck that. Oh, Gus Funk. Yeah. Banger of a song. I will say, the Coral region had really good music. Get down tonight, glorious.
Speak, Spirit.
Is that... Father? I can't see you. I wasn't quick enough. I'm so sorry I abandoned you.
Your father is dead.
What? How?
He went to find the other treasure on his own, to spare you the dangers.
It seems that in your efforts to protect one another, you each came to one of these islands on your own, and...
I've been such a fool. But... thank you. For telling me. Perhaps now, we can see each other again.
What a shame.
In their attempt to spare the other, they both perished. There is a lesson there.
What now?
We will retrieve the treasure, then return to the father.
What for?
To finish what he and his son started.
That water wheel's getting no water.
Okay. Oh, there was a crack that I could use. Bonk. There we go. But yeah, it does. The entire game is fucking... the entire game's soundtrack is just amazing.
Something appears to be atop that island.
It's just fact.
Perhaps the treasure the spirit spoke of.
Oh, another one. Hello. 3.
Stop squirming.
You did it, Master Kratos! A spectacular job! Keep it up and you'll become an expert in no time.
I can't tell if he was patronizing or if that was just plain sad.
We could use that lift, but not while it's up there.
Washed ashore.
Down, but it has to stay that way.
I know. Oh, I think I know what I can do. I know what I could do.
There's a gear. See?
Yes.
To the gate.
I see. Don't you fret your little head. Is that enough of an angle? Might be. It might be, you know.
There we go.
Voila. You bastards, I'm about to explode. It is goated. It is goated. Sure. Yeah, Gongarga's one's good. Very relaxing. And home of Zach Fair, so. Ooh, Jewel of Yggdrasil. Nice.
Quite cash. I see why it meant so much to our lost treasure seekers. Perhaps we should go tell the father what became of his son.
Shame I can't fast travel. The only way I can fast travel really is if I went to a mystic gateway and then go from there really. Oh yeah, I could dock here and then walk away back again like we did before. Way back. How are we doing for? Oh yeah, I never even upgraded Freya. Oops. 4,000, 2,000, 5,000. 2,000, 2,000, 4,000. You know what? I'll give her an extra arrow. Fuck it. How much have I got? 2,000. Can I upgrade any skills with Dropnia Spear? I can. It's for his gold source and Gongaga regions. Yeah, Corel and it, Coral. Is it Corel or is it Coral? I can't remember. Corel, I think it's Coral. No, Corel, Mount Corel. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Bye-bye, buddy. Yeah, I got that video that you sent me, Ben. I'll have a look at it at some point. Take a peek and whatnot. The father was around here somewhere, wasn't he?
You're back.
Yeah, but you're up here instead, are you? Oh, right, yeah, I forgot, sorry.
We have news of your son.
Oh, please, tell me.
Yeah, he did.
Died trying to find the other treasure. He didn't know you were doing the same.
No. This is my fault.
He disobeyed your wishes.
Yes, because that is what sons do. I should have brought him with me. We'd be alive and rich beyond all reason. Together.
Don't blame yourself. He is at peace.
Nevertheless, thank you for finding him. I'll seek him out in Helheim.
I'm glad we did this, Kratos.
Yes.
And I'm sure Atreus will be as well.
Yes.
That was nice. Big extra XP. Oh yeah, we were in the middle of trying to find a... We missed one here too, didn't we? It was a rune or some...
Rather the first time someone's told me that, I suppose.
Don't breathe. Aha. Ooh, how do I get to that then? Oh, treasure. Treasure. Ah. Washed ashore. Is this going to be... So this is going to be a upgrade either of rage or of health. Health. Good. I like it. I like that. Okay, so we need to go to here too. We need to go to the go and see what's his face. Probably would it be quicker to? Well, there's a Mystic Gateway there, so I can go and see Sindri real quick, and then use that Mystic Gateway to kind of travel.
Fair. I assume it was Sigrun then who helped you retrieve your Valkyrie wings. Were they hidden in the place I guessed?
They were not. But yes, she did. Argued all the while I should let my anger go, but helped me just the same.
Did you make the spear? Wait, no. Brock has to be the one to tell me what happened. I'm just gonna pretend I was never here.
Thank you.
Anything for Freya?
Ooh.
Hope it's to your liking. Kratos?
Oh, that could be upgradable. Nice.
Want something in particular?
Seven slots sockets repaired. That I will take.
And for the Valkyrie Queen? What'll it be? Whatever you need, I'll create. And now, Freya?
Battle on the big bridge. Yeah.
What do you need?
That's good. That's actually a good one, actually. Oh, I can upgrade the shield. Yeah.
That ought to hurt him.
Probably should have upgraded the Rond, but whatever.
Anything for Freya? I am, as always, at your service.
Okay, so runic and cooldown, strength and cooldown, defense, Muspelheim's protection. Ooh, runic cooldown and luck. That's nice. Jotunheim's virtue, vitality and cooldown. Ooh. Impale a spear into the enemy when striking with hot light lunge. Impaled spears can be detonated with Drapnir's call. Ability known to charge a powerful spiraling spear to toss that piece who tries first to strike it, driving them backwards. Well, yeah. Ah, so I can... go...
A net, lungs. No, that's rubbish.
What?
Brock's bloody riddle. What gets bigger the more you take away? I can't let that blue twat beat me.
If you are this upset, he already has.
There's 12 songs on disc 6 are back to 12 back-to-back songs of
I came
Fields.
by and took out an Einherjar patrol. Area should be clear. Can't speak for the rest of town.
Guess an occupying
Yeah, there's
army
some
is
Field
as good as a
songs on
lockdown
there.
for tamping down foot traffic.
You again. I hope you're back to clean up the mess that extra head of yours made.
We have done it.
Doesn't fix what I did, but hopefully it makes things a bit better. Let's be off, brother.
Your hammer.
Thanks. Might not mean much with Odin's goons stomping around the city, but folks see this and they'll know we haven't completely given up. Not yet. Never expected to see this thing again.
White Splitter. Mountain Splitter. Oh, let's go. Yeah, we'll take it now. Upgrading that too. Let's go. Good old Leveless. Oh. Well, I don't think there's much else for us here now. I know there's probably a couple other different bits and pieces, but yeah, let's head back to Sindri's house. I could unlock the Crucible. Yeah, I could.
Let's see which armpit of Muspelheim that sea bleeds to, huh?
Brock's riddle. Could the answer be nothing?
What gets bigger the more you take away? Nothing. I don't think so, brother.
I do not like riddles.
Ooh. Well, hello.
Here to get rowdy, huh? Figured you wouldn't be able to turn down having another crack at these combat trials.
An ash
How
petal.
about that?
You
The sea
have an
did lead us
interest
to
in
Sutter's
botanicals
Gauntlet.
now?
What you need now?
Oh, wow. Successful axe ranged attacks now generate charge of the Permafrost skill. With successful precision throws generating even more. Grip of Radiant Reflection. Walls of the True Flame. Ooh. Okay. Drop near spear. Warriors Echo Soroteur, whatever the fuck that means. Rond of Absorption.
And now for the goddess. About time I had something to do.
Wait, there's a Nornir chest here? Oh, fuck, there is too. Huh. There is. I don't think I need the axe more than the blades, because it's quite hot here. Oh, it's different challenges. For the looks of it.
You choose the trial.
Opponents rapidly regenerate from any damage.
Here they come.
We're gonna knock them into.
Behind you, look out! Up there! Ripcord coming this way!
There you go. That was. Wait, am I on a timer? I can't remember if I'm on a timer or not.
Nasty hit. You're all right, brother.
Behind you, watch out!
Nice.
Raider on the left.
Bonk. Bitch.
Behind you, look out!
Behind you. Incoming. Great save.
Enemies to your left! Incoming! Above you!
Hey, I'm aware. Oh, yep, there we go.
Behind you,
Ah.
Kratos!
I am so close to death, it's not even funny.
Find you, watch out! One more to go.
Please don't. Please don't kill me. Rhea, for the love of God. There we go. Ooh, that was close.
Kratos, a chest appeared.
That was, I was about to die. Fine. Oh, divine ashes.
We completed the challenge, but there's more here we haven't seen. Could there be other arenas? The choice is yours.
Throw orbs into the round tear to close it before time runs out. The warm up. That was a fucking mistake. Look at the orbs.
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Right flag!
We gotta kill. Have we just got to kill X amount of enemies and then the orb appears?
Cobra, left flank!
Oh, unless I'm warming up. I'm gonna warm up. Oh.
Any of these challengers catch your eye?
Kill glowing enemies to collect orbs.
Interesting. Looks like you need to toss those full orbs into the void.
Protect yourself!
I will, don't you worry.
Watch it!
No. Oh.
This is kind of calming in its own way.
If you insist.
Oh wait, what? There's more than one wave? Oh.
Enemy behind you!
Oh. Okay.
Find you, watch out!
Larger enemies drop higher value orbs. Okay.
On your left!
Forward, brother!
That's two.
Forward, brother!
Get the fuck off me. Oh, hey. Nice. All the challenges done. For the reward. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? Bit of fun. Fine ashes, nice. I'm guessing once we do all 3 of each corner, we get a Braces of Undying Pyres. Ooh. Increases the gain rate of the Permafrost, Immolation, and Maelstrom skill gauges. Okay. She sounds quite nice, to be fair. Well, kill the elite while keeping the population under the limit. Keep enemies out of the rings until the time expires. What's a big boy? Oh, so you got to keep it down to 4. Otherwise, shit gets real. Ow. Pass.
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Incoming Bifrost!
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Oh. Oh, that was close. Should be dead. That was easy. Oh, here's the chest.
That was fun.
Cool. Alright, that's one down. Oh.
The choice is yours.
King of the Hill. Keep enemies out of the rings until the time expires.
It begins.
Where's this ring? Oh.
Right side, incoming! Left side, incoming!
That's the next wave. Oh, there's more than one. Oh, it's probably gonna be like 3 waves in there, I'd imagine. 70 seconds.
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Oh, there's 2. Oh, shit. Okay.
Behind you! Incoming poison!
Behind you! Look out!
Enemy behind you, Kratos!
Enemy behind you, Kratos. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Huh. There's gonna be three circles we gotta take care of. And it's fucking 80.
Enemy behind you!
Behind you! Incoming!
I'm not gonna do well with this, I don't think. No. Oh my god, look how many.
Careful, brother! You're covered in Bifrost! On your right!
Just kill me, just kill me. Yeah. Maybe not with that one. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. He turned up as Trick Williams' tech power, didn't he, in Night Next T? Not mistaken. Say his name and he appears. Yeah, you gotta do both sets. That sucks. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that. To be honest, that's gonna be problematic. Let's try this one just to see how many we can do, and then come back to it if need be. I'll use the arrows. Maybe.
The choice is yours.
Defeat all weapons. Defeat all enemies within the time limit. Avoid taking damage. Ooh, yeah. You know what? I think we've done enough for tonight. I thought about doing that, but against it.
Why's it gotta be so friggin' hot here? My sack sweat. Let's make something then.
So instead of cool, then we get runic. It actually, and it actually looks quite nice too. Oh, and the way you upgrade him is Divine Ashes. Probably not then, because...
Need something special?
As much as...
nothing to do or no?
Is my legs hurt and my back hurts? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jax. We tried like stretching, or just does that make it worse? Runic Fury, exactly. Runic Fury. Anyway, Sindri's house.
Now that you have a weapon to deal with Heimdall, we just need to find a way to get to him.
Aye, if that's still the plan.
It is. I will protect my son.
So, then it seems the original plan to avoid Ragnarok has fallen a bit by the wayside.
That is up to Odin.
Yes, that's rather what concerns me. Listen, brother. Those things he said to you.
His words are nothing.
True, though I expect retaliation is no empty threat. We need to think through the ins and outs of it.
You're getting ahead of yourself. Let's see if Sindri has had any luck.
Or we can get to see Ratatoska as well.
Hello! Good to see the
Here's
chimes
what I
working
found.
as intended. What a rambunctious bunch!
Rambunctious.
About Nithog. You should know. We had no choice. It was
You sat on the floor when going through. Ah, I sat on the floor.
Very well aware indeed of the alleged All-Father's role
Gotcha.
in
That
this
makes sense.
tragedy. Sadly, there's no expecting him to clean up after himself. Not all gods showed the interest that you do in righting past wrongs. Now keep up the good work, bringing those lean worms home. Until our next encounter, then.
I got half of them. That's not too bad. I
There
mean,
he is! Hey! Come show off the spear. See what we done. Now do the thing!
Oh, look at that. She's special, that one.
Ain't gotta tell me.
Have you found a way to reach Asgard?
Not as such. Had a few ideas, but they didn't so much work.
isn't there a game called Nidhogg?
Without a way to
Probably.
Asgard, what are we doing?
I do not know. I need to think. I am tired.
Retire.
So, you're sure nothing unusual happened with the lady? Nothing at all?
Where are you going, brother?
Yeah.
So we're just keeping blindly on then, hoping we don't walk headlong into Ragnarok. Is that your plan?
He's like, thank. He's like, I'm just gonna fucking sleep, please. Doesn't know what to do, does he? Lost. We can still see the marks. Oh, wow. Oh, top half naked. Naked, naked, naked. Wonder if Faye's gonna turn up. That's the bag with her ashes in it. He took to Jotunheim. He's emotional. Doesn't. We're thinking, what would she do? What would she tell him to do? Music, though, is fucking amazing.
Kratos.
There she is.
You alright?
Oh, there's a trace. There's a little baby.
Well, your father seems very ready to go. Shall we then? This way, Grumbles.
She's very pretty. She's a very pretty lady. I'll give her that.
Do you enjoy the gentle waves, little one? Your father and I traverse this river often. One day, you will learn to navigate its waters. We live deep in the wild woods. The most beautiful forest in all of Midgard. And it is safe and serene here. Game is plentiful, and you will want for nothing. We're not far from the place your father and I first met. We nearly took each other's heads off.
I can see. I can imagine
But
that.
he's softened since then. Somewhat. Unfortunately for you, he remains dreadfully stoic.
What's your thoughts on watermelon? I like watermelon in drinks. I wouldn't eat it like raw.
I suppose it will fall to me to teach you language. Your father can teach you to hunt. Or perhaps that will fall to me as well, since all he seems to be good for is grunting. Have you nothing to say to your son?
What would you have me say, Faye?
Anything. Let him learn your voice. Let him know you.
He is far better off knowing as little as possible.
Knowledge is not always a burden. Think. The mighty god of war, frightened of his own child.
I do not fear our child, Faye. I fear for him. He is innocent.
We are not our failures. We are not who we were. We must be better.
Atreus is our future. Keep him safe, Kratos.
That's all he knows, isn't it? All he knows.
Protect our son.
All that, all he knew was just slaughtering gods. Didn't want that life anymore, but all coming back to haunt him. Failed to protect his son. No, I wouldn't put. I'm not. Well, I don't think I've even tried it. Salt and watermelon, to be honest. I have watermelon in like strawberry and watermelon drinks, but nothing. Nothing physical. What are you doing? He's trying to reawaken himself, isn't he? He's gonna break through the wall. And find the strength to save his son. There's Atreus.
What did that wall ever do to you? Building focus. Something my father taught me.
Oh, it makes warm men taste better. Oh, does it really? I didn't know that. I don't have in liquid form. Yes. But apart from that, no. Sorry, just while the ads are running, I'm just checking something real quick. Oh. Oop-a-doop-a-doo. Let's just see who's on. Ready for when we raid out. Welcome back from Cancer, everybody. I'm going to take another stab at Final Fantasy 16, New Game Plus, but not Final Fantasy mode.
Work?
Well, I hope you enjoy.
Not yet.
Really good game. Love that game. I love playing the DLC,
So,
actually.
What you focusing on anyway? Controlling my emotions. Heimdall keeps trying to make me lose my cool. Ugh! I can't give into it.
Through. Hey. It's through. Hey, be cool.
Training without me?
that a good idea? Training? I mean, I think it's a great idea, but won't your mom be mad if she finds out?
Good point. But did you consider...
No, it didn't. That didn't hurt, also.
Anyways, grandfather wants to see you.
Oh, grandfather. Right, okay. Here, then take this. And, send my regards to Sif, Lady Sif. And Atreus, see you later. And Thrud. Bye, Thrud.
Midgardian boys are so weird.
Weird can be good.
The two of you, I swear.
What's in the jar?
Milk curd, Mom's favorite. It's his way of helping. Grandfather's in his study. Catch up later?
Oh, definitely a great game. Final Fantasy is hard mode, but yeah, I know it's hard mode, yeah. I would rather just go through the game to enjoy the story again. That's fair enough. Yeah. That's fair. Okay, so we're back here again. Worth checking.
Nice! Whoa, I can use this.
A recipe for a runic?
Nicely equipped. What needs work?
A magical sun that revives one from death with full range and small amount of health. Ooh. I think we'll call it there. Was it 20? Just under 22 hours done. Do I want to? We'll go with that one. Actually, I do like that. Let's do some upgrades for Atreus. Even though it's not going to save, but it's fine. Want to go through both DLCs? Yeah, the DLCs are really good. So the first one was good, probably a little bit on the a little bit on the short side because it was just one area. I suppose the same with the Rising Tide, but it was a bigger area and whatnot. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed. I think I enjoyed the Rising Tide more, but Echoes of the Fallen was really good too. Very, very good. I highly recommend playing. The music for the final boss fight is top tier. But yeah, we're going to call it there for tonight. Appreciate everyone popping in. Ostrom. Just going to see who we're rating it to. I think I'll read Mage. Mage Amazed. Playing through, he's playing Kingdom Hearts Fragmentary Passage. Or Birth by Sleep Fragmentary Passage. So it's like the backstory of Aqua when she's in the Realm of Darkness. So yeah, we're gonna go over there. Say hi. If you want to use the raid message, you can. Yeah, then we're gonna start the raid then. Ooh. Yeah, I appreciate everyone popping in tonight for more God of War Ragnarok. Got some good story stuff done. Did a little bit of exploring as well in between. But yeah, it's getting juicy. The story is definitely building towards a crescendo of sorts. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And until next time, take care, stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one. It's a goodbye from me. Let's go say hi to Mage.